I can't believe that worked.
That was so
Hello,
cute.
everyone.
So fancy.
That was good. Good stuff.
And now I've got it. I didn't even know how to do it, but okay, ignore me. I'm a professional.
Aren't we all?
We're so good at those.
I know. Hello, everyone. If you're here, say hi. We'll go around. We're all familiar with people here on this channel, but feel free to introduce yourselves, and we're just waiting on Izzy as well. So, Robin.
I'm Robin from Paperbacks and Planners. I post regularly over on Instagram and theoretically over YouTube.
You sure do. I'm Heather from Heel Booktubes. I read the series, and that's why we're here today.
Heather's fault.
And then I'm Shay from Shay Geeks Out, and I'm here because I finally wanted to do one of these with my friends. So I said yes, and I have zero regrets right now.
You picked a good one, I feel like.
Yes.
Well, I missed out on all the Alona Andrews stuff, so I still have to read all of those.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it again.
I'm telling you right now, this is the perfect thing to go in after the hangover from this is Kate Daniels or Hidden Legacy, both.
As seeing as how I read this book and a Kate Daniels book in the same week, yes, absolutely. I'm Steph. This is my channel. Hi, you've found your way here. I don't know what else to say. Why am I sharing my own message? Oh my goodness! I was just saying to you, my brain is not functioning. I'm a week out from holidays, and I need it. So, hello everyone. See, everyone will read Kate Daniels with you.
It's a good
Go
one.
with the graphic audios for them too. Alrighty. Well, we are here to talk about Rules of Redemption by T.A. White, which
I'm definitely going to have to get me physicals.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, you have a physical copy?
I do. I have all of them.
Like,
Because when we decided to do this, I had all the ebooks. Then I decided we were going to do this. I'm like, no, I need to make notes. I did it better with a physical book because that's me. Yes, see. Okay, Daniels. So it's like an annual thing. Hello.
I love Jen.
He's great.
It was great.
I feel like you just love him even more throughout the series.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. That's
All
a
right.
spoiler for book 2. I can't do that.
No, you cannot do that. Shh. Not there yet.
I need to
I can't do that.
Does anyone want to do a summary of Rules of Redemption? Let's attempt to be.
I can do one.
Go for it, Heather.
So if you're here and didn't read the first book we follow a scavenger. She has been out of the army for about a decade. There was a war that almost wiped out humanity, and she basically gave everything that she had and left broken. She has an AI droid that is her only companion and like her best friend basically, and they are scavenging. That's the first chapter. And then they have some damage to their ship and they have to go to a port that has the part. And it's a port she really doesn't want to go to because she's a little too well known there. And instead of flying under the radar, she feels compelled to rescue some children because she could. And those children are part of a diplomatic group from another alien species. And she gets dragged into the middle of politics, and she hates it.
Yes, she does.
And of course, the enemy general guy has the hots for her, as one does.
That's what it is.
Which I have thoughts and feelings about. See, knowing that Kate and Curran are this kind of a dynamic makes me all the more excited to dive in.
It's like the same dynamic. They remind me so much of them. It's great.
Okay. I'm not.
It's like it's not like copy and paste. It's like if you like this, you're gonna like this too. You like them for the exact same reasons.
Got it.
Yeah. Alrighty. So Heather and I had read this first book before. So Robin and Shay, what were your first thoughts?
I gave it 5 stars. So
Same.
which I pretty much knew going in. I was like, there's no way this is going to be a miss if both Steph and Heather are obsessed with this. I was like, it can't. It's not like I'm going to go in and like not love it.
Right.
But it was definitely one of those.
I was deeply afraid I wouldn't love it though.
Yeah.
No,
like, I'm gonna get kicked out of our friend group if I hate this book.
I think I was
then I
like,
ended up loving it. So
I was like completely committed by the time that she saved the kids. I was like, well, that's.
I know, like the second she was like, crap, am I really gonna do this? And she just starts going, and I'm just like, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like you
right away. I was like, it
Uh-huh.
sometimes like it takes.
I adore the kids, and I continue to adore the kids.
Yeah. Because I was like, with sci-fi, sometimes you have to like figure out, you know,
Right.
the world and like all of that. But I was
Right.
like, I was invested right away. She saves the
Right.
kids, and I was like, well, there goes,
Right.
there
I
goes
think-
my life.
I think chapter 2, you're like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
We are in this.
And
Yeah, the
even,
first
like,
chapter, it's like, okay, this is going to be a
Right.
slower pace. And then everything kicks up in that second chapter.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness.
Right.
And
Exactly.
even like there's like she plays with like really like popular tropes, and it didn't even matter. I was like, clearly she's this, and clearly, and I was just like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
I love it.
Like,
Right. Exactly.
I can't say there was anything necessarily super surprising about it till the very, very end. But
Yeah.
that's a huge spoiler
Right.
related thing we'll talk about later. We're still in non-spoiler territory.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like, it's a flavor you've had before, but it's really well done. You already like the
No,
flavor. So of course you're
It's
going to like the
very
great
well
version.
executed for what it is. And I'm not
Right.
mad at that. Like, I like what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that was
agree.
exactly why I like loved it so much right away. I was like, this is going to give exactly what it's telling you it's going to give.
Uh-huh.
It's going to do it really well, and not try to like, I don't know.
It's not trying to be not like other girls. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't trying to
Right.
step outside the box. It
Yeah.
knew where the box was. It played within the box, and it blew
Right.
your mind within the box. And that's what I
Right.
loved about it.
Yes. Very
So,
much so.
I liked like all the character. Like she did a good job with the characters.
Mhm.
Like
And
though
it sets up so many characters, and it sets up a lot of the backstory that even though you don't get as much of the detail for everything that went on prior to the start of the book in this one, you get the hints at it, because I think we find out a lot more in subsequent books. But you get just enough to go, okay, I see how all of these relationships work and why they work so well, and why these characters are not getting along, and why they're
Mhm.
frustrated or whatever.
Mhm.
Well, I'm curious, on a reread, was there a lot more details that you picked up on a second read, or did things hit you differently on a reread? Because I feel like this is a series that could easily become a comfort series where, like, when I'm having
Yes.
a bad time, I just go back and re-listen.
It's very rereadable, because I was like, do I want to reread Rules of Redemption tonight? No, but I'll just like start it. And then I'll switch to another book. And I stayed up until 1 a.m. rereading it.
Yeah.
And then I was up at like 6:50 in the morning. I was like, I'm awake. Rules of Redemption. Like, okay, so that did not pan out.
It's also
And
like a super engaging book without it being stressful. Like, because sometimes like sci-fi and fantasy can get like a little like stress where you're just like, oh my God, is everyone gonna die?
Right.
This one always had like a fun feel to it.
Right.
It did.
Even though it is
Because
like,
it felt like the stakes were high enough that you were invested, but not so high that you were stressed.
Right.
yeah,
It hit that sweet spot just right for me.
Yeah. It's not a short book, but it reads really quickly, because everything is just happening, and the writing is like the way that it's written is designed just you speed through it. And it's not that you're skipping things or anything. You get so absorbed in it that you don't even notice that you've read a 400-page book.
Yeah,
I was telling you all before we went live that each book picks up in the same scene that you left off the previous book. So as someone who read all 5 books like it was one book, they're all like that. Like all the way through, you're just like, I gotta keep going. This is so good. I cannot eat. I cannot sleep. I have a book to read.
And I've been reading books so slowly, and I binged almost this entire book in one sitting. And the only
No, I consumed
reason I
it
stopped is because
so
I had
fast.
to go to bed.
Like it's not a book where there are parts where you go, okay, this is a good place to
Stopping
stop.
point, right?
It's just like, hang on, no, I need to keep reading.
No, I was literally, again, I was rereading it. It was late. I was like, I gotta go to sleep. I was like, this is a good place to stop. He kisses her. I was like, not
Just kidding.
I forgot that's where we were.
Yeah, this is very true. There was no like at any point where it's like, oh my God, like we stopped action to like reflect back and discuss this like huge thing, like always happens in fantasy romance where they're like, let's sit down around this fire.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that takes me out of fantasy romance is that for whatever reason, it doesn't seem that there's been a way for people to find a way to bite-sized world build.
Yeah.
Precisely. Whereas this is a completely fantastical world. Like,
yeah.
What is this wizardry where she's able to do this and just drop you straight in and you go, okay, fine, I believe this straight away. Like I'm not.
Right.
Yeah. You didn't need to sit in a room and tell me about the world.
And I didn't need an info dump on the world. It told me just enough when I needed it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you too, you know, in the next 4 books, there's things that are introduced in this first book that, you know, are I don't know, maybe just a couple sentences even. I have a stink bug. I don't know if you guys have stink bugs. We do. They're prevalent in this area. But anyways, there's like a bunch of elements that are referenced in this book that you get a lot more information on throughout the other books.
Yeah.
And like, you know, end up being huge parts of it. But it was not like they didn't. There's
you don't need to do it all at once. Like, and you have a whole series, right? Break it up.
And you have her going into, like, she knows what she knows, right? But she's going into a society that she's completely unfamiliar with because they're so closed off to humanity and the other, you know, nations, basically. And yeah, it's not just 30% of, you know, this is how it works, because it's so woven into introducing the characters, and the characters have such a found family element, even when she doesn't trust them or doesn't know them yet, or, you know, like the humans that came with her, or she has a bad history with them to a certain extent. There's still such a found family element to it. And then you also have quite a bit of action, you know, all throughout it. So even when it could have been such a slog, right, when we are learning everything, it just isn't.
Yeah.
So I did answer this, but it is an ongoing series currently. There are 5 books out currently. We are hoping we get book 6.
She's writing book 6, so that's good.
She did just have a baby.
Yes.
She had twins.
Yeah, she had twins.
Last
So,
year. And the updates are few and in between, but I am...
And that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I am patiently waiting.
Yes, and Kira does, like, she just keeps collecting people around her.
Yeah.
And I like characters like that. That's very much a Kate.
I feel like she's like Kate in this too, where it's like, is that reluctant mentor or reluctant friend where it's like, I don't want to get emotionally attached to you. Please go away.
It's like, I think I'm not going to do
this. To train us.
Yeah. And like that's exactly how it is with like the kids. You can tell she's like keeping them at arm's length. They're like, but what about this? But what about this? And I'm just like, okay, this is adorable.
Right. Exactly. And I also absolutely loved that the kids were like, we've grown up here. We were trained to be in our house. What do you know? Nothing. You need us.
Yeah. Which, like, there's the scene on the ship where she's watching. Oh gosh, I've mentally blanked on the boy's name.
Oh, wait. I made notes. Hold on. I could have this page out.
No, I did too, and I left my notes elsewhere. And like he's training, but she's critiquing internally his technique, whatever. And then when she eventually gets put on there and she's like, no, I'm not gonna beat it quickly. I'm just gonna draw it out, blah, blah, blah. And then she
She accidentally
She accidentally wins like within seconds, and she's like,
whoops.
whoops.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
No.
Yeah.
I agree, Megan. I like the main characters who are like, they are powerful and smart and all of that, but they also understand that like, I am not invincible. I am smart enough to know when I should just like
Yeah.
back up out of here.
But also, she's smart enough to know when not to reveal too much too quickly. Like occasionally it happens by accident, but particularly in the second half of the book, when she knows she's out of her depth and she doesn't trust the people around her.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna pretend to be like a little, like I don't really know what I'm doing. I need protecting.
Hooray for competent characters is all I can say.
Right.
But not so like overpowered that it's just like, okay, I get it, you're great at everything.
Yeah. But I like that there was a reason why she has that ability. Yeah. And it's not she's not like other girls. It's literally her birthright.
Yeah.
So,
with the other plots for me anyways, I feel like this is very much one of those series where you have different things that are ongoing. You also have specific plots that are wrapped up in every single book. So it just kind of depends on which plot we're doing in this book, how much you're going to get of that aspect. And I think that the plot for the first book makes a lot of sense based on the enemy and the society that she's in, the amount of trust that she has with the people, because you can't make big moves, you can't make huge change if you're an outlier or if there isn't really any trust or any precedent there. And it's like all of that has to be built, and I think that is what we're doing in the first book in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I agree that like there is like its own little story that kind of wraps up. Like it has like it leads into the next book, but it's not like it like leaves you off in a spot where you're just like you feel like like the rug was pulled out from underneath you or something like that. It's just like, oh, I want to continue because I want to know more about these threads, but it has enough of a closure where it's like, okay, this is a good like.
I really like the endings, especially since it is ongoing. I really like the endings because you do immediately want to jump into the next book, but it's not like
a big cliffhanger.
And they all died.
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
I'm the person who couldn't wait until read it. I have no room to talk.
Oh yeah, Jen, the knife throwing is hilarious.
Oh, the high on meds thing was hilarious.
There was really just so much. Like, this is such a solid situation, like for a book and for a series.
Thing is like a micro trope in romance that I love, where they like are on like some sort of medicine and they like spew all their feelings in secret. One of my favorite micro tropes, and when it was in here, I was just like, hilarious.
Right.
It's so good. Oh, bye, Megan. If you
see Megan.
This, troubles.
I'm glad that you're spamming your thoughts. We miss you.
Yeah.
I really like when she was high, I like one, that they could only get the answers to the things that they knew to ask her, right? And two, I also like that they aren't like betraying her trust in that they're pushing for far more than she would be willing to reveal to them. Obviously, they did get more than she would have technically told them. It's not like, tell me your deepest, darkest secret, and then I'm going to use it.
For her, she was just like, whoops, shouldn't have said that. I feel like it was more of a slip of the tongue for her than them like prying it out. It was more just like, oh, I should have stopped talking.
Yeah. Oops, that was not what meant to come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I also really like that even though she is powerful, she is finding out that she's not like some one-off superhuman, right?
Yeah.
And that she has a right to be, and you'll see this in the series, it's not a spoiler, but she has a right to question just how much they will accept her for what all she's gone through. And being gone the entire time and not growing up in their society, right? But at the same time, it is also nice to know that she's not the only one and she's not, you know, a
She wasn't
weirdo.
a science experiment, because that was, I feel like, one of her big fears was that like she is that way because she was, you know,
Made that
His
way.
name, I know it's Japanese name. It's like Hishomo, or I can almost see the spelling in my mind, but I can't.
Yeah, I'll get it.
I
listened to the book, so
I feel like
listened
all
as
throughout
well.
the series you
I
have
meant
a
to listen to
hate-love.
it to get the pronunciation. I didn't.
Yeah, I feel like you have a hate-love relationship with him because it's like, but then also in some ways, like he cares about her, and in some ways he has positively impacted her life and made a big difference.
Yeah.
It's also like, but he's always going to put his which I guess rightfully so. He's going to put his job and the well-being of his country ahead of any one individual.
Yeah. He's willing to use her to like further things, even though he does like kind of care about.
You know what? That's the type of thing too, where it's such a good foil against the love interest, because you want someone, bye Megan, you want someone that will put you first. You do. Whether that's a father figure or a love interest or, you know, what have you. You don't want to be told, oh, well, you're a necessary sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like even when she's doing something dumb, like she's about to like step onto that platform and he's like, don't do that. He's like, I'm here to save you. Like, and like stuff like that, where it's like clearly he cares about her even when she's doing like, he's just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing about like all of the leaders that we're introduced to in here is that they've all got a reason for doing what they're doing. They're all working within their role within their society. And when it's not in your best interest, all of that is mysterious. All of it's shady because you don't know how it's going to impact you moving forward.
Yeah.
And they don't all have the same information.
No.
Like, you know, because her cousin or whatever, like, doesn't know about, you know, the alien dudes. And like, so everyone has different little bits of information. And so the way that they're acting, you know, is impacted by which bits of information they know.
Yeah. And like in the case of her cousin, the fact that she's being fed misinformation as well on purpose.
Yes. Why did she growl for him the whole time?
It didn't bother me. It probably bothered people, but like,
it definitely.
I'm not mad at a growling hero, so the fact that he was growling didn't bother me any.
It just like threw me off at first because I was like, "Is this the hero?" And then, like, as it kept going, it was like, "Oh, she just thinks that's what men sound like." Apparently,
this needs a graphic audio. That's what it needs, and I would not be opposed to the narrator who does Karen doing.
I was like, it definitely needed a male narrator.
Yeah.
No, it would have definitely benefited from two different narrators, but that's how I like my sci-fi and fantasy anyway. I prefer men to do male voices and females to do female voices, whenever possible.
It's better. It's just more expensive, I think, is the only
reason. You
have to get it all the time, but it's always better.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those audiobooks that if you aren't already like an audiobook listener that can kind of just like push through everything, I wouldn't recommend the audiobook.
Yeah. Yes, but I'm for graphic audios for just about anything these days.
No. Maybe put the ebook on hold if you can.
Yeah. Like I said, if you are an audiobook person, especially like if you speed it up, because I was listening at like 2.7 times speed or something like that. Like,
yeah, I was listening at like 2.5 and I didn't really notice it. So
yeah.
Back to everyone having their motivations and stuff. Or the different leaders. That is something I really like in the series. No. Basically, even when they are the bad guys, right? It's not just I'm evil because I'm evil.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different motivations, and especially because like our main character, I think she walks a really good line of being her own worst enemy and also just rational and sympathetic and, all of those things, because it's not being dumb or being proud or stubborn even for just the sake of it. Like every time you have a reason, and all of them kind of, but she knows when to not push it or when to. And it's like, so even like the characters that I think could have really swung into being frustrated with them, you don't feel frustrated with them because you kind of have a reason for everything.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even when she's like frustrated with other people and how they're acting, like you can even see her being like, I get why they hate me. I get why they're mad. I get why they're upset and all these things. Like I can see where they're coming from, even though like they're being huge jerks right now. I get why.
Right.
And I liked that dynamic of even when someone is being bad, it's like, it's a believable bad character, not just like you said, evil for evil's sake, which is it can be fun, but it makes it more, I don't know, you can kind of see all the different sides and it makes more sense.
But I also appreciate that she was very hesitant to trust at the same time. She knows she has to trust them to an extent, but she never fully let her guard down around them for the longest time. And it gave a sense of realism to the series that wasn't necessarily needed, but I liked that it was there. It helped my enjoyment of the series and of the story, because you can see, she has a reason to be like nervous around these people. If I were in her shoes, I would also be nervous. Like I wouldn't just immediately go trusting people. And,
I think oh, you go, Heather.
Well, I was just going to say, I think Roderick is a good example where it's just like, you little, but
Roderick.
Even as the series goes on, he's never like a main side character or like someone you really love or anything, but you do kind of see growth. Like it's because at the beginning, it's just like, what is your problem, dude? What is your problem? And then, throughout the course of this book, without going into like actual spoilers, but throughout the course of this book, you definitely see like, his worldview get shaken up a little bit, whereas like, everything that was enough to get you to this point is not going to be enough to continue.
The scene that I was thinking of when we were talking about sort of Kira being a really rational character, but it's also the other characters around her, even when their relationship is strained, like when they have that, or when they're taunted into that race, and they have to work together. They're not fighting each other on that because they know they all have an understanding. Okay, well, we have to prove something here. We have to work together. We have to put aside the fact that we can't stand each other or we annoy each other at the moment.
Yeah,
we just need to do it, and we have to trust that we know how to work together because we've done it before.
Right, and also that group. Because I feel like besides Jin, if you even want to really count him as a side character, Raider and Finn are like my favorite side characters.
I love Finn so much.
No, I love Finn.
I was like, can we talk about Finn? Because I love him.
Right.
He needs his own series.
Raider comes across as like the childhood best friend kind of guy. But like Finn is just like the no nonsense, like driest humor ever person. And I love him for it. I do.
Well, I think he's really interesting in the Tuan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but like he's really interesting.
That's how they say it in the audiobook, at least.
Yeah, cool. In that, because he's been outcast, really, but he knows how the society works. So Graydon's working within the boundaries of his role within the society, which is a really interesting role and whatnot. But the actual structure of their society and their houses and their families, which is very much like Hidden Legacy in terms of how they like that power structure is. But he comes in and he knows how all that works, and he figures out Kira really quickly. and is just, instead of getting mad that she never does what he thinks that he should do, is like, right, well, she's done that.
Yeah.
And now I need to adjust because she's not going to play by the same rules that we play by.
Yeah.
And I think that characters that can do that are so much more fun to read about than just butting up against, a wall at every single step of the way. That's less fun. Like, that's a lot less fun.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that you're protective and grumpy and maybe know better and all of that. But I need you to not demean the main character in your stance. And I think that line is never really crossed here. And that's part of why I like it.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't really brought up is the fact that in a lot of ways they treat Kira, at least initially, like a child, like she knows nothing, which in a lot of ways works well for us because we don't know and understand the world. So she's being fed the things that she needs as we need them. And I really like that because that plays well as a reader. So you're not getting these huge unnecessary info dumps because it's coming in a slow trickle. And that's much how I prefer my sci-fi and fantasy to be, rather than just a giant info dump, because then I don't remember it in 50 pages,
Yeah.
And I also think the irony of her being called a child at 90 years old,
right?
And just her reaction to that is great as well.
But then she finds out that her cousin's like 10 or 15 years older, and she's like, wait a minute.
but also that, we get all of that before we find out how long-lived the other characters are as well. So we're like, oh, hang on, why are they calling her that? And like, it all happens in the first little part of the book, so it's not like we're waiting for a long time, but it's an interesting.
And that she is smart enough to be able to then be like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to utilize this to my advantage, since clearly no one's listening to me. I'm gonna roll with this and use it.
Yeah.
Since everyone's apparently going to treat me like a child, I am going to take advantage of that. And
well, it's nice because then, like, again, they kind of let their guard down around her, just like they do with Jewel and the little girl. I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah, I was just looking it up.
Diva.
But like that's right. And so they let their guards down around them, and so they all like share their information together, and I love that.
Yeah. And I like that.
We'll teach you we'll teach you how to handle the politics and the court stuff.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I also love that, like, Jin can end up being this like ghost that like nobody really pays attention to somehow.
Exactly.
That, like, everyone's
he
just
can
like,
just
oh,
like
it's
blend
like a droid
and then just like flit away and do whatever he needs to do. It's great
because everyone has like these like ideas about what like is possible, and like they're so set in that like no one even pays them any attention. I'm just like, like that.
I love that. I also really love too that I feel like, again, that would be really, really frustrating if everyone treated them like that. But Graydon, I feel like he
knows.
He figures it out so fast that
I think right at the beginning, it's hard to tell if he is poking on purpose to see how she's going to react / what's actual just disdain for a child that's grown up in the human world. But then him and all of his bodyguards, his team basically being in on the joke, as well as the humans being in on the joke, because they're like, no. All of that helps. If it was every single side character being like, you all don't know what you're talking about, and you're dumb, and you're a child, and it's your bedtime, that would be really, really frustrating.
Yeah,
for sure.
The fact that like Graydon from the start is just like essentially like elbowing her as like the cousin's talking, just like, like, shh, like, let them keep going.
Right. It's so good.
But I think Graydon has a lot more respect for her early because he saw the rescue.
Right.
And I think that made him wise earlier than the other characters.
Right.
And I think that's good for the overall plot of the story.
And I get the impression that like his position where he's constantly like not just like in his own family, but like interacting with her, he probably has a far different view of like what other people are capable of. Whereas I feel like when you get to their individual houses, they are so convinced that they're the best that they can't like fathom that an outsider could possibly do these things. Whereas I think he from the beginning is like, clearly there's more here.
Right. Go ahead, Izzy.
Hi, I love the book. Sorry. It was literally, I screenshotted it. I'm sending it to the group chat. It was at 8 o'clock in my calendar. So I was like, oh, I'm taking everything shower. And then I got out and I was like, what do you mean? It was at 7. We changed times. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Daylight savings. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Fucking hate time changes. It's fine. But yeah, I
Don't
love
worry
this book. I devoured it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had so much fun. I'm joining the group of probably starting book 2 pretty quickly. But then I'm gonna have to wait longer, so that's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself at this point. But I have a big audio that I need to squeeze in between. So that's why I'm like, I'll finish 2, then I'll do that. And then my treat at the end of that is book 3, because it'll probably take me about a month to get through it. Because
No, you see, Shay, your answer is actually going to read Alona Andrews books, because the vibes are the exact same.
Already told her.
Literally, that's
I've
the
already
solution.
volunteered to read them with her. Always have. And Julie.
Yeah. But I agree, Julie. I think Alona Andrews has the vampires and the Hidden Legacy both, but more so the vampires, right? But everything with the house system, I love that. I really, really do. I find that's in the Mask of Mirrors too, is like that. It's just an element I absolutely love when it comes to politics and family and the system.
Well, I like Graydon's role in that, because he still has his house.
Yeah.
He also isn't working for his house, but he also, through this book, we get to see that he kind of is as well. Even if
he still has affection for them, and they still have affection for him. Yeah. I absolutely love the ending of this book. I don't know if we're talking about it yet, but
we have 2 more lives.
I love the ending.
But no, the ending of this book is what I immediately had to dive into too.
Got bad news for you. It goes all the way
I had
5,
feelings
and then
at
you're
the
like,
end of this
what
book.
do you mean there
about
isn't even a date yet?
Stupid meddling Graydon. I was so mad at him that I had to continue because I needed to not be mad at him anymore.
Yeah. Well, that is one of the things. Again, like no spoilers.
Characteristics
through the series where I think they handle it so well, where you could be like, that was crossing a line, and then the way they handle it is like, okay, well, no, all right, I'm on his side. Yes.
I feel like, and I won't go into spoilers for it, I feel like she kind of gets him back at the end of the second book, though. Like, he meddles this time, and I think it's the end of the second
book. They're very tit for tat, and they're very respectful of that. It's like they have a lot of respect for the fact that you were able to score on them, you know? Like, it doesn't
by the ending didn't bother. Like, I was like, oh, this is everyone's gonna get their moment. Like,
oh yeah.
And it's not just the 2 of them; it's everyone in
it's
kind
everyone.
of
in one. Yeah, I was like, all of you are gonna get your time.
I was like, it's 5 books. We've got a lot of time for a lot of things to happen here and develop and change and shift. So
I already have thoughts about book 2 with where I'm at, and I'm trying very hard to not share them.
This is why I'm not reading book 2 yet.
Read it and talk for the live.
It's so difficult.
I did get Her Tortured Beasts like right after I finished this, so that was what I picked up.
I still need to finish that.
I have 45 minutes left.
I'm so okay. Wait, question aside. I'm like 30%. I'm so stressed out.
Oh yeah. It
takes
until like the 62% mark.
Okay. That's what I need to know. I'm so stressed out.
I had to go look.
I
had to go to the trigger warning page like 3 times because I was like, please tell me.
I've not even looked at that list.
Series, or is it a different one?
It's the EP Valley. Yeah.
I'm going to go meet her in October, by the way.
How are you?
This for you.
Okay.
She seems very sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got it right around then. I mean, we got it at the same time. So yeah, I started it and I was like, I'm stressed.
Yeah. I was like crazy stressed I had to like do it in chunks. And then I think it was like the 40% or whatever that I ended up like binging through. It takes a while to get out of that stress. Yeah.
Okay.
So your advice is when you finish the next book, you just need to have something that you really want to read afterward.
Yeah.
Just a circuit break.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Or like so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be splitting in Empty Net from Tegan Hunter with Her Tortured Beast now. So I'm gonna like rotate, like I'll read a chunk. When I get too stressed, I'm gonna go read a Goofy Hockey Romance.
There you go.
We'll see. I might push through.
That's a bit of a juxtaposition, those two books.
100%.
That's a very
this book
drastic
especially,
vibe.
it's a very drastic change. Well, because I'm also reading Last Light still, and I was like, I can't do all of this at once. I was like, you have to go to the corner.
The fact that you're still reading Last Light is just a crime. Like, I don't even know what to tell you. It's
Go back and
ridiculous.
finish that one, please.
I will. I'm
Please.
going to. I'm trying. I have too many lives.
What's
Too
your
many
favorite
things happening?
Because all that will happen is that
Girls
then
are
we'll go, right, so we're all going to read Last Light and we're all going to do live shows and we're going to keep you accountable. And we don't need that at the moment because we've all got enough going on.
You can't bully me. I'll just walk away. We must remember the ADHD urge to not follow directions.
And yet you're here.
And
Late,
yet I'm here.
but here.
Yard cleanup required a good shower. I'm sorry.
I believe you. Tell us what else you thought about, like, without spoiling the last 40% of the book. What else did you think about the book before we move on to other things?
I mean, for me, I just like I know you wrecked it as a Lona Andrews read-alike-ish. Like, if you like a Lona Andrews, you're gonna love this. So I was like, I already knew I was gonna like this. And we align more than we don't on our reading taste. So I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was just stunned at how alike it felt in energy. Like, it was just really, because as the group of here who has read Alona, I feel like we're not going to steer each other wrong on that direction.
Right.
But I feel like I have been steered wrong on that before. Many times. Oh,
Right.
and it's like, it never does. And this was like, I literally didn't want to stop it. And I fell asleep at one point about halfway in, like, listening. And I was like, I don't know where I was. So I was like, whatever, just gonna keep going. And I could, and it was fine. Like, I was able to pick up on stuff. But like, I'd had my sleep timer on also. So this was like the last like 5 minutes of a chapter I knocked out. But like, I didn't want to sleep. I was like, I want to keep listening to this book.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess you'll lay down. And then I knocked out. And I was like, okay, apparently you were really tired. But I was still like, I have to keep going. I want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it really intriguing. I find the house family system, whatever you want to call it, interesting. I'm really excited to watch their relationship develop between Garden and Kira. That's her name, right? Yeah, that's her name.
Graydon.
Like,
Yeah.
Graydon and Kira, yeah. So I'm excited to watch all of that. Like, I'm just intrigued. I did not have a vision of how, like, I guess all the aliens are humanoid-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was like, did I miss anyone not being humanoid? Because I felt like everyone was humanoid, but I was like,
it's
maybe I
all
missed somebody.
They're humanoid. They're
humans with like
a little different.
I think like space armor
Mhm.
from like
Yeah.
the chest
Okay.
down, like
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And I
Like
was
the
like, well, maybe-
vampires. In
yeah,
Kingdom.
just like the vampires.
Yeah, so it's just like the vampires. So yeah, like I was like, this feels so alike. But yeah, I don't know. I had a blast.
Yeah.
Truly,
I
did not want to put the book down.
I
We
do
get less
feel like,
humanoid aliens in book 3.
huh?
Do we get less humanoid aliens in
Yeah,
book 3?
yeah.
I think that was the only thing I was looking for was like non-humanoid aliens because I always enjoyed that in my sci-fis.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely getting
Well, I think that, I mean, this book touches on sort of the link between humans and the Tuan as
Mhm.
well. So that whilst Kira's still being introduced to their society, yes, and they also seem to be quite reluctant to bring
Mhm.
outsiders into their society.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, book 3, we go different places,
Okay.
Yeah.
which is fun.
That's exciting. Okay. Yeah, that makes me more excited, honestly.
I also think as someone who came from a science fiction book background before I read
Mhm.
romance, this reads like you could, not that I would say take the romance out, but you could take the romance out and this reads as a perfectly solid science fiction story.
100%.
I think the romance enhances it for sure. And
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like it has the same vibes of reading like other sci-fi I've read.
Yeah.
Like it fits.
Yeah.
Because I've read similar books where, and there might have even been like a subplot romance that isn't as heavy, but it feels the same. And that's the thing I like about science fiction books is that action adventure. There's politics, there's stuff that's going on, and there's a character trying to figure out where they fit into all of it.
Yeah.
That appeals to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this is far and away the closest I've found to Ilona Andrews' writing. Like they feel they feel like they go next to each other, you know.
Yeah, I think she's got to read Ilona Andrews. Like she has to, because she's picked probably some of the best traits of all of the big series that they've released. And
yeah, and it's still hers. It doesn't feel I said this, you know, right when I first read it. It doesn't feel like plagiarism. It just feels like if you like it, you're gonna like both because they're both. That's what they are. They go together. All right. Should we get into the major spoilers of this book only, Shay?
Yeah.
I will be very careful, I promise.
It's funny because Steph and I both read more than you, but you're the one that read more like today.
Yeah.
In your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot more by T.A. White. I will definitely be exploring more for sure.
This is their only sci-fi series. They have a fantasy series, a paranormal urban fantasy series, and there's one more that I haven't read yet. It's the dragon one, and I'm not sure where that falls between fantasy and paranormal because I haven't started it yet. But this I think is their best. After this, I liked the fantasy, the next best, and then the paranormal. But I liked all of them.
This is her newest one, though, so I mean that makes sense.
Her paranormal series is also not finished.
Oh, okay.
So she just released the 7th book of that in December or so.
Okay.
Does she not have an Instagram?
She does, but
hard to find.
Okay, cool. There's and I'll go find it.
It's tagged. If you go to my post,
I have it tagged in under my most recent post. It's TAAW24.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, where is this woman on socials?
Right.
Yeah.
I actually only found her.
Posted.
Like I found her website and I was trying to follow stuff through her website, and then I only found her Instagram because I searched something and someone tagged her or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think if you want to read more going into April, we do have the Love in the Night Readathon. We can plug that.
Oh yeah, we could plug that.
That is when I plan to read the 2nd book.
Yeah. Or you can join the sci-fi readathon that I'm doing, and this would also fit.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. Even closer to the live show. Okay, well, I'm sad that y'all kind of disliked the dragon one. I was kind of holding out hope that it would fall in the middle somewhere. I mean, I'm still going to read it because I am obsessed. But
well, also, okay, if she just had twins, I now understand why we don't have a date for the next book.
Yeah.
It makes more sense. Fair.
We can forgive her.
I guess I'll give her a little grace.
Yeah, it looks like she was publishing like 2 or 3 books a year before that, and now obviously we're going to
now she's keeping 2 tiny humans alive. So yeah. That's a
right. It's completely
could not pay me.
No.
I can be patient.
2? No, all the time in the world.
Yeah. Heather, you want to talk spoilers?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I do want to talk spoilers. So, what spoilers do we want to start with? Because I want to talk about all of them. Let's just do a live reading of the book and we'll provide commentary.
So, I'll start then, I guess. I loved the reveal of her Primus form.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was cool. I liked how it was
I thought that
handled
was
a lot.
really cool. I like that we got how she interpreted like what happens in her head during those moments
Yeah.
as well. I was afraid we weren't going to get that, but I loved that we did.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
And-
love.
No, go ahead.
I know. I was just going to say I love all the little hints that we get from the start of the book
Mhm.
up to the point where it's finally revealed as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, where
And
it's like,
I-
oh, there was
I
something
can't
in
lie.
place
The
here.
moment Graydon looks at her and he's like, "You're so beautiful," I'm just like, okay, yes, I can be on board with this man.
Right.
Yeah, I did
Like
like
even in her monster form, he's like, "Oh my gosh, you're beautiful." I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I did like being in her head during that part. That was really fun. Of
Oh
like
yeah, right.
the monster like taking over.
Because the
and
monster
then-
form is like, yes, it's like petting me. Okay, I dig this. Let's
Yeah.
go.
I also really, really liked that her cousin was like, yeah, I'll give you everything you want if you survive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, you're not going to sacrifice yourself for me. Also, on the cousin with that same thing, I feel like, since we're talking spoilers, I feel like since her cousin, they have given up their claim to her and her father's family has done their claim for her.
Mhm.
I feel like part of why they're so, I mean, you get a good relationship with them throughout the series, but I feel like part of why they're so standoffish and like unaccepting in this book is because this isn't where she ends up. Like this isn't her home. This isn't her
Yeah.
home. Even though it could be if she wanted to be, and she could be happy there. It's not. But everything
Well,
with
my
her showed out.
thought is he loved her Primus form because I think each family's Primus form is gonna have a different look to them. This is just me like thinking ahead. This isn't anything that's been revealed, by the way. This is just my head canon.
Yeah.
Is that each family's Primus form looks a little bit different, and he recognized his houses because
Yeah. I honestly don't. I remember that the Primus forms are different. I don't remember if they're different based on the person or on the house.
Mhm.
So
That's
I
fair.
don't remember if you're correct or not. But
in my head, that's just how it works, and that's why he was like drawn to her. Like,
I would kill for some fan art of that.
right?
Yes.
I've Googled looking for it. It does not exist, and I need it. I need it now. Someone who is an artist, please make it for me.
Yeah, I suppose because I don't visualize, like for me, that's probably the hardest part because I understand what the description is, but I can't picture it, and I just want to see it.
I had to.
If you wanna send me a highlight of it, I'll make you a beautiful drawing.
Thanks.
I had to look at the artwork even for Jin because I was like, is he like a circle? Like,
He's on the cover.
Yeah.
Hang
Yeah,
on.
she does.
Yeah,
I had to like go and look because I was like, what does he?
I just, you know what? Very specific. I envisioned the portal bot thing that'll like show up in the portal games.
Yeah.
So
I do want to just before we go anywhere else, I want to comment on. I think the fact that she's always considered herself to be a monster or something other is because she was raised amongst humans, and also because of the fact that she was in captivity and experimented on.
Hence the monster form in air quotes. Like, she's not a monster.
No,
but I think she thought that she was for a while. I think that was why. I think for a while she thought that like all of the things that she like her abilities were because she was experimented on, not that she was experimented on because she was
100%.
Other species.
She thought she was human.
Yeah,
she thought she was human. So then she'd be wondering why does this happen?
Yeah, that was the one that I think Heather shared. That I was like, oh, he is a circle. I taped her in my post, so let me grab it.
I posted it. I just got it. I already had it up, so
got it.
Oh, this one.
I also really, really liked with all of that when she's in the cage and she like addresses all the, evil aliens. I forget their name. And she's like, I am offended that you didn't recognize me. I don't know why. That felt like such a I don't know, Lord of the Rings moment. I feel like there's some moment where that my brain is like, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It's kind of like when maybe it's when they speak orc or something like that. But it's cool that she all of that is so great. And then, you have that maid and she's like the worst.
Just
She's not
the
really
worst.
maid, but,
Right?
And they're like, we're gonna execute her, don't underestimate her, and it doesn't really work out for them. But
Yeah.
There's and moving forward as well. That's a consideration for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I feel like there's more in the future, but I also feel like one, not being able to control yourself, two, not having the proper training, three, being the only one like yourself, and then also being so young when you first started on everything.
And she was always used as a weapon, and so she has no idea even that this is anything other than a dangerous weapon. And so I think that's part of it too, is to her, she's like, this is only deadly. This is only something used for violence. And whereas she's like, I assume, going to be learning that this is more than that.
Don't read the spoiler if you haven't read the other books, guys. Yes and no. I do agree with you. However, I think all of their things were different and all of them assumed it was experimentation and all of it was kind of tainted by evil by the people that caused it to them. So, and then also, you know how everybody is.
Well, and they talk very candidly in the first book, at least, about how, we really don't know that much about the Tuon. So, there's no way she could have known because humanity didn't know.
Yeah. They thought they were...
Because she was raised by humanity. So how would she know?
And they barely had contact with the Tuon by the time she would have been rescued as well, because all of their issues happened later.
Yeah.
Well, I know what she's talking about. I'll just say that. I know what she's talking about. Also, though, I think we all kind of view ourselves in some way, to a certain extent, in the way that people react to us and the way that we're treated, right? If your family are your biggest haters, you're going to have a harder time accepting yourself than you are if you have a very loving family, right? We all know if you're bullied at school as a child, you're going to have a more difficult time with the specific things that you were bullied for than you would if those things had never been thrown in your face, right? And because she is so dangerous in this form and out of control, and because, and I've seen this, you see this again in the Kate Daniels series, but when you have someone so powerful and you have their most loved people still being scared of them and not quite trusting them, even when they're not in that form, right? Or even when they're not out of control, they're not completely trusted. And that hurts so badly even when it's deserved. And the more that happens, obviously, the more standoffish you would be. And also, perhaps, the less you would trust yourself because no one else trusts you.
Yeah.
Can I jump in there? I just want to say, because I just reread Magic Binds, which I think is the Kate Daniels book, which most exactly replicates this, because it's the ninth book.
Yeah.
And it's like when Kate is in a stable, loving relationship with her partner by this stage in the book. They're getting married.
Yeah.
With everything, and I won't go into spoilers, but with everything that's happened up until that book, in this one, she starts making decisions that are slightly out of her control because she hasn't been trained with the new powers or abilities that she has. And so everyone starts to look at her differently, and she reacts accordingly, because even though she knows they love her, she trusts them. She knows they're going to call her on what's going on. But a bit like this, you still have that feeling, and it's relatable, because you go, these are people who know me, but they're still reacting negatively, even just as a reaction, not because they actually feel that way.
Right.
So my reaction is to react again in response to that.
Right. Also with Himuro and them suspecting she was Tuon, that wasn't until the very end of the war. So she had already been their super soldier for quite a while. And also they were still actively at war. And she was one of the major things that kept them from losing that war so badly. And she, even just the threat of her was such a big deterrent towards the enemy that they really could not afford for her to be out of action, which obviously is what would have happened if they had honored the treaty.
And even if they'd confided in Kira, there's no guarantee that she would have reacted in a way that benefited them either.
There's some reasons for this that you'll see throughout the series. Is basically because I agree. You're kind of like, hello, obvious solution to this. Let me tell you, what it's like. But also, one, there's reasons, and two, you don't want to talk about your deepest, darkest trauma to people you don't trust or know.
Yeah.
Especially not for a treaty that you are being actively blackmailed, strong-armed into participating in. And you don't want to ruin it, but you're not really happy to be there either. And you don't want to give more pieces of yourself that you're not willing to give than are already being required of you.
Which is why I'm so frustrated by the end of this book.
You get there.
Come on, Shay. You want to talk about it? Off you go.
I do, but I'm not going to on this live. We'll talk about it on
I'll leave.
No.
I'll forget by the time we get to the next live.
No, everybody here has only read, well, not everybody, but
I can't spoil everybody. Come on.
But the end of this book, I feel like you don't know whether to be mad at him or not.
Oh, I was mad, which is why I jumped into book 2. Because I'm like, do I stay mad at you, or is there a reason for this?
Yeah.
There's always a reason.
Always a reason.
I'm less mad at him now. It's fine.
He's rather difficult to stay mad at.
It's true. But honestly, like, the way he went about things is super crappy. I don't like it.
But I suppose at the core of it, he is the most political character.
It's true. So,
point.
I get it. I do. Yeah. But I'm still mad about it.
His decisions affect more than just the immediate situation.
Himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll say, I mean, they go on and on about his role with being the commander's second or whatever person's name is. Emperor. There you go. Yeah.
The face of the emperor.
So that's part of it too.
I
feel like there's
now that I've started book 2, I'm less mad at him. I'm still mad at him because I don't like how he did it. Mm-hmm. Why he did it, I understand. I still don't like how. Yeah, I'm allowed to not like how.
Yeah. Well, but the fact that
and that's all I shall say on this live. The rest I will say in the next live.
I think that you are supposed to be twin mad and we're not going to have a major break, as the reader. You're I think both are very intentional there.
And I think it's a testament to the writing, the fact that you have you're drawn in so much to these characters that the second a decision like this is made, you do react that way. If it's an average book, you might be annoyed, but you don't get mad.
Yeah, if it was an average book, I wouldn't have kept going.
Yeah. I feel like the average book, you're like, all right, well, this is.
And you're like, oh, well, that's just a hook to get me into the next book. I was I am upset and I need answers.
And that's also this is a really common hook for the end of a book, for a cliffhanger into another book. Yeah. It's not that it's not used all the time.
Yeah.
Of course
No,
it is.
It is used all the yeah. Well, and that's the thing that like it was like that thing where it ends like that. And you're like, okay, wait, but I actually do want to know.
Well,
Mhm.
and I feel like the thing that really frustrates me with that is when the next book takes the entire book to try and get back to where
Yeah.
we were in the first book. I don't like
Mhm.
that. That's what really frustrates me. And of course, you never know what you're going to get. You never know if it's going to be
Yeah.
700 pages of them apart or if
Yeah.
you're going to make up in the first chapter.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you start in the same scene in book 2,
Yeah,
so
right.
you get your answers right away.
Right.
I have frustrations
absolutely
with some of that stuff too, but again, we'll save it
Yeah.
for the next live.
I love that we start in the same scene every time. I really, really do. I feel like that's difficult to pull off, and she does.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is difficult.
That's fair. It is hard. But yeah, she's talented.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else we want to talk about?
Read book 2, friends. Read book 2.
Definitely. I'm just trying to find the date for.
As I say, I don't think anybody in the chat like was upset or sad and didn't enjoy the book. I think everybody had a good time with it. So
I think
Yeah.
you're either going to enjoy this kind of writing and sci-fi romance because it's probably not like what is the most popular sci-fi romance because it's not going for I don't think it's going for the shock value sometimes that we get.
it's leaning more into the romance slow build word thing,
Yeah.
which I'm not.
Yeah.
But it does it in the way that I really like, where you're getting a lot of conversations between the characters and a little bit of flirting, a little bit of banter, a little
You're
bit.
getting enough chemistry between them that
Right.
like it's
Right.
feeding
And
the romance
Graydon's like
part without-
arrogance in the fact that it's like, I know I'm hot. I know eventually you're gonna want me, so I'm gonna wait this out. I'm just like, excuse you, sir.
Yeah. It's good. It's really good.
It's good though. I like that dynamic. In a
Confidence is
character.
sexy.
Yeah. I will say for anyone who happened to be watching this and Reddit and stuff, if you did not like book 1, I don't think that you'll like the series. Like,
That's fair.
I just don't see it because for me, I know like I was hooked in chapter 2 and then I was hooked from chapter 2 of the first book all the way to the final page of book 5 where I'm waiting for book 6. So I just can't see like being like, well, actually in book 3 things started to click and I liked it.
Okay, but also like don't read a series to book 3 if you didn't love book 1.
Right, exactly.
Right. Please
Could never be
do
me. It's some of you. So I'm just warning you right now.
Right?
I don't think that this is the series.
Right? Oh my goodness,
I
that was
know.
so good.
I love them. I also love the teasing that they get immediately.
Yeah.
They get a good read on each other straight away.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else we want to talk about? Or shall we?
The next live, I grabbed the date, Steph, if you didn't get it yet.
It is the 26th of April.
7 o'clock if you live in Central Time, not 8.
It is at 7.
It will be 10 a.m. if you are where I am on the 27th.
I was not going to try and guesstimate the time for you, Steph.
Our clocks go back next weekend. So
Okay, well, don't make my mistake.
You should always put I know there's the time change, but you should always put the notifications on YouTube. It's in your time zone. It always changes to
I was
your
gonna say,
time
I
zone.
double checked on YouTube today to make
It's
sure I
the
did.
best
I
way.
thought I looked today. I don't think I did. It's again pool cleanup. Backyard.
can I
cleanup.
say,
It has
as
been
someone who is constantly
time.
checking other people's time zones, I just put in my time. I work it out once, and then I just check the YouTube video because I cannot be bothered.
That's normally what I do, and I think I just didn't look at the YouTube video today because I don't know.
Well, it's okay because I'm in like over here. It's the weird time because I think you guys have had a time change.
Mm-hmm.
So we go from
Hadn't had yours yet, and now you're having yours.
Yeah, because like depending on what time of year it is, it's either lunch like 12 p.m., 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. And I just this one just happens to fall right smack in the middle at 11, and then next week it will be 10 for the next couple of months. So
Well, there is that. YouTube does not like to notify you.
Yeah,
We like to notify you.
sometimes
You
I
at
know.
least tell when it is and set your own alarm.
Yeah, because I've definitely had it where it's like the notification will pop up once you open the video, and it's like that wasn't helpful, man.
Yeah.
I needed the notification
Yeah, like
30 minutes ago.
I had to request that I was off a little bit earlier from work to make sure that I was back in time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like that's why I remembered the dates. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I have to be off by this time so I can get home and
Yeah.
get ready.
Yeah, I know any live that I'm really looking forward to, I have an alarm set because YouTube is
Yeah,
not to be trusted.
It's not to be trusted for sure. Yeah.
It's fine. I got burned.
It happens
Okay,
to
it
the
won't
best.
happen again.
I know.
It happens to the best.
Because
of us.
I will text you an hour before saying it's in an hour, let's go.
It won't happen because we won't have a time change again during this. Literally, we planned it. I put all the dates in my calendar for 8 o'clock.
It's just this one.
And then we had the time change. Because I was thinking about pre-time change. Because we planned this pre-time change.
Yeah.
And Rob was over here like, can we make it the right thing? And I'm like, yeah, I've totally got this right in my calendar. Reshared post, never clicked. It's fine.
All right. So the next book is Age of Deception, if I'm correct. And yes, end of April. We will be back talking about it. So
I will be done probably in the next 48 hours with book
and
2.
you'll have to wait patiently until the end of April.
I have a big chunky book to read in the meantime, so it's
Okay.
fine.
I mean, it's like, who has the time to do a live show every week? And obviously, people have different reading paces, and it would be, a barrier of entry for quite a few people.
Yeah.
But things like this, I am like, I would love to be talking about, like going into book 2 and talking about it this week.
Well, when we did the Side Changeling read along, we were doing 2 or 3 books a month. One, because there were so many books to get through, but it also made it easier because the plot kept going. But yeah, it's a barrier for some people if you only read a couple of books.
Right. And it is a lot of scheduling.
Yeah.
But the temptation is there, let me tell you.
That's okay. We will persist.
We will.
We'll persist. Alrighty. On that note, we might wrap this up. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you will join us next time. Yeah, I wish it could be every 2 weeks, but that does not work with my weekend schedule.
Yeah, I think my husband would lose it.
We'd be done really quickly.
My boss
that's why
concerned about
Robin
me.
and I were talking about for the Shepherd King duology, since it is only 2 books, you can do that like every 2 weeks, and then it's just 2.
Let me know. I'll finish the series finally.
It's happening in the fall, but you should finish it before now. I see your hold on the library.
Yeah.
Your audiobook on 2 Twisted Crowns that just keeps being there.
Quit creeping on my holds.
All right.
Your library access.
We're devolving. I'm ending this now. We'll be back next time.
Bye.
Bye.